27 years ago, when I was in my surgery residency, there was a big debate raging whether or not we should operate on patients with gastritis and stomach ulcers, or if we should just give them a prescription for a proton pump inhibitor. They were very new at the time and extraordinarily effective. You might know those medicines because they're now sold over the counter. They're the ones that end in this ZOLE. Those are in that category of medication. The thoughts were that those medicines would be for short-term treatment for stomach acid production. In fact, there were cost comparative studies which showed that surgery was actually more cost efficient than the medications. However, the decision was made to proceed with prescribing a lot of these proton pump inhibitors instead of the surgical route. The patients weren't really told what the risk-benefit on that was, and what we discovered over the years was the following. First of all, these antacids are extraordinarily effective at stopping acid production. A proton pump is a part of the cell, the parietal cell, that exchanges potassium for hydrogen. And what that does is takes potassium out of the substances that you consume and exchanges it for a hydrogen ion. In other words, makes acid. Now, these medicines block that process, and they do so very effectively. What they notice is that people would no longer have this reflux burn scenario. They would no longer feel the acid in their esophagus. Bingo, that's a huge complaint that people complain about. In fact, it is so effective, they started making this an over-the-counter medication, and it is available for anyone to take for a prolonged period of time. The second thing they realized was, okay, it's effective, but people who develop esophageal cancers were developing these cancers even when they were taking the antacid, which led to the discovery that it's bile acid and not hydrochloric acid that leads to the transformation of the cells in the esophagus, leading to cancer. So an antacid masks reflux, and then it goes ignored for many, many years, and the patients can develop esophageal cancer without knowing it. Now, that's not really something they advertise to patients that much that I know of. The third thing that they recognized is that when you don't have stomach acid, you're not absorbing nutrients very well. These people had a tendency to lose bone mineral density, muscle mass, etc. But the most important thing that has been shown is that people who chronically use long-term PPI medications are twice more likely to get cardiac disease and heart failure. So prolonged use of proton pump inhibitors is not the safest thing in the world for you, but what are you going to do when you have this constant burning? And I hear this complaint all of the time, this reflux burning. This is available over the counter. Surely it is safe for a prolonged period of time. Well, let's understand why you have burning in the first place. When the middle aspect of your intestinal tract is not properly coordinated with the upper part of your intestinal tract, the upper part can't empty. And when the stomach can't empty at the right rate of speed, coordinated properly, things just tend to bubble up the wrong direction. If you want the upper part of your intestinal tract to work, you have to make sure the middle and the lower part of your intestinal tract works. One of the beauties that we're finding with Zive 7, which is an all-in-one digestive product, is that it helps coordinate the upper, the middle, and the lower parts of the intestinal tract, which means a lot of the reflux symptoms that patients have been experiencing goes away. You do not need to take prolonged proton pump inhibitors and all of the complications that represents. What you need to do is coordinate the system a little bit better with your Zive 7.